Hi everybody, it's Garth. I've been getting some really nice emails from my friends who have downloaded my instructional video, Classic Bass Tones of the 60s and 70s, which you can find on my website, which is garthfielding.com, as well as getting some really nice responses from the video I did for Ampeg on the Heritage B-15 and some of my D'Addario videos. People contacted me saying, we would love to hear what a Rickenbacker matched with the B-15 or the Heritage B-15 sounds like. Well, it's a sound that I love, and people obviously think about a P bass when they think about or jazz bass, and when they think about an Ampeg B-15. But the combination of the Rick with that is really a fantastic tone. And the whole idea today is just to go a couple of seconds into what I'm doing on my bass when I'm working with my Heritage B-15, which I absolutely love. A word about the bass. For all you Rick fanatics, you can obviously tell this is not a Rickenbacker. It is a Greckenbacker, and it's made by Greco. Greco, owned by Fujigen in the mid-70s, made copy instruments. But for those of you in the know, and people do know more about them now, a lot of these copy instruments were, in and of themselves, really beautiful instruments. This happens to be one of those. This is a mid-70s Greco. This is obviously not a Rick, but it's Rick pretty much everything besides the name. This is real quality. This is hand craftsmanship, right down to the dot inlays around the neck. I got this from a friend of mine in Japan, and just fell in love with it. I love Rickenbackers too. Don't mean to offend you Rick guys, but I love these basses, and people that know me know that I use Greco basses. I have a Greco P bass that I use for sessions all the time, and I use this bass for sessions as well because it's got a great vibe and great tone. So to get those original 60s tones from the Rick, I have taken off my round wounds, my nickels, XL nickel strings, which are D'Addarios, and I put on my D'Addario Chrome flat wounds, 50s to 105s. Now, when you think Rick, a lot of people think the beautiful tones of Chris Squire and Geddy Lee, of course, and Lemmy, of course. I can't leave Lemmy out. Those are great Rick tones, but those are the treblier side of it. But then you think of McCartney's type of approach, where there were flats or nylons, and sometimes I use these. These are the D'Addario nylon flats on these as well, to give that really classic thuddy tone. But what the Rick offers is, or the Greckenbacker as the case may be, it offers a high-end clickiness that you don't get from any other bass. There's a woody tone, but you get a high-end clickiness. So today we'll talk a little bit about that. I'm starting initially with my 64 channel, which is more the Motown channel here, and I have my bias switched over to 1964, and the tones are big, warm, and beautiful. So you hear that tone, you hear the tubes really helping that tone expand. Beautiful, big, round tones, and a certain type of scooped mid-tone that's not coming necessarily from the Baxton Darling EQ, which is an amazing EQ. It's coming from that Rick kind of tone. So when you go back to those McCartney days, you know, that's foam. That's a mute with a palm, probably a nylon wrapped string or a flat wound, and I have my action set low. I like my action low, but it's a little higher on this bass for letting the resonation of the notes come out. So this beautiful mid-scooped, like woody tone in the middle, but then this clicky upper mid-register tone and treble tone that comes only from this Rickenbacker kind of sound. And the B-15, in my case, the Heritage B-15, I'm sitting here next to number 10, this is my amp, and I paid for this, and it cost me a lot of money, and it's a beautiful, beautiful amp. There's no substitute for great tone. You know, my theory is if Zeus played the bass, he'd certainly have a Heritage B-15 somewhere in his house. going to open it up all the way. You can hear my tone styler in there. That's what I use in my passive basses. So I have the treble really high up there, and I'm going to roll it back. Just really, really beautiful tone. Now, the other really important Rick tone, obviously, and if you're talking about McCartney, and you're talking about other guys of that era, and I have to also bring in the amazing Carol Kay and the amazing Joe Osborne. These guys were, and men and women, were blessings to the tone of the late 60s, and you listen to that stuff now, just blows your mind. You know, right down to a Carpenter's record or any of the Mamas and Papas. That's just phenomenal, phenomenal bass playing. And of course, we can't leave out the Beach Boys. I mentioned this stuff in some of my other videos. But here, I'm going over to the 66 EQ. I'm using a pick. I'm going to brighten my tone a little bit, and you're going to hear the beautiful Heritage B-15 doing its thing, and you're going to really hear the Rick coming through in a beautiful way. So, I'm on. Big, trebly, clicky tone. And again, I'm digging in. Like I dig in with my fingers. I use a medium pick. I'm double muting, which is my palm, on top of the foam mute. Beautiful. You got that great tickiness. Now, word about the tone. In my previous videos, you know, those are recorded with a mic going in through a board, and sometimes there's usually a preamp involved, a nice tube preamp. What you're hearing today is just me with my Rickenbacker, my pick, my foam, my own hands. I don't use other people's hands, and the Heritage B-15. I'm not using these back cabs. These are my gigging cabs. It's just what you hear. So it's just the room, and what you're hearing is big, room-filling, warm, fat tone that are coming from a beautiful set of tubes, beautiful gear in general, and then really translating what you're doing with your fingers. Beautiful. So. Really sings in the upper register. That's my feeble attempt at one of McCartney's bass lines. It just sits in the mix. So the Rick really brings in, or the Rickenbacker as the case may be, that certain type of clickiness, that brightness, and even with flats that seem to come through. And that could be on modern Rickenbackers and old ones as well, but the combination of the Rick with the Heritage B-15 or the standard B-15 is a beautiful, magical combination, as I said. Zeus would like it. And just great tones. Really nice and bright if you want to hear super tic-tac tone.